So this is so this is what we were calling the village zone. So you can see the scale of the height of the buildings has come down to that really nice, comfortable 2-story. Yet the street is still dominated by traffic. The sidewalks are narrow and the trees are really, really poor. And you still have that same 2-way traffic. So again, we leave all the infrastructure in place, but here we get a little more transformative. We still do the corners, which you can see here, and we alternate that with parking. We want to keep some parking on the street. We actually think that's good for some buzz on the street, and but maybe it could be on the east side, for instance. Maybe we take more space there to really make a greener street in a continuous way, north to south.
And maybe just to sort of zoom in on that means that there could be opportunity to actually create spill-out patio terraces that would actually be just beyond the sidewalk, like sort of beneath the canopy of the trees, and you'd see that in plans sort of in the areas below here. So you'd have in this area of the village, we're proposing a kind of asymmetrical streetscape where you'd have parking on one side, but on the other side actually you'd have a continuous sort of almost like garden terrace sort of environment where you could really, I mean, there's already great kind of restaurants, cafes and stuff, but it's all interiorized, and seasonally it'd be wonderful if that expressed itself out on the street. So that's the idea really of making the village a place that has that kind of alfresco dining that seasonally really comes to life, has a space to do it, but without really giving up the parking completely.
We actually heard clearly from you guys that when we were walking around this, it's actually a bit of a foodie spot. So we just kind of imagine that this kind of culture can occupy the street and give it a real character. We want Mount Pleasant to be a destination. So now we're south of Belsize, and here's a church. So we're just looking at the intersection, we're imagining a better corner, but we're also looking at opportunities where you can make partnerships, especially because you're a BIA, you can speak as a unified voice, and you can say, well, if it's sort of saying to the church, they might actually be interested. We've had experiences before in Midtown where this has worked, where they can get public occupation of the public space outside. They actually like it because maybe they can actually share maintenance of the space. So that's what we're showing in the proposed, is that we take non-conventional places and make them into public space, which again, if they're on corners, great. You get an amazing corner and a better entrance to the street.
And there's an opportunity to say, well, what should that space be? How start a process working with the church, making sure there's compatibilities of uses, but certainly a chance to maybe even add more tree canopy, include seating, that where you can just pull off the street. Again, those corners are so important, but also sort of how they move east-west and draw you back into those neighborhoods. So on both sides, that presents a chance to make a place that you could actually gather and meet. There's a zoom of that area, of course, the improved crossings, and then the idea that you could take some terrain beyond a little more into the church property as a real public space design, and then even have conversations beyond about their patch of grass.